Welcome to After the Show, your weekly movie podcast brought to you by A. Scully and Cidtalk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome to After the Show. Welcome, Cidtalk. Hello.
Forgot what we were doing.
You forgot? Did you?
It took like 20 seconds to get going there, and I was totally in another world.
You are. Well, I'll tell you what we're doing.
It's all good over here in this world, if that's what you're asking.
We're doing the podcast. That's what we're doing. It's the After the Show movie podcast.
Oh, that. Okay. I'm in.
It's a weekly movie podcast review. And this week, no. What was the before the After the Show discussion?
You were telling me about audio stuff because you're getting very excited about being audio engineering.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
I do enjoy the audio engineering side. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Of making a podcast. Because it's really like fiddly and nerdy. And I like that kind of thing, messing with stuff. So that's me. That's me in a nutshell.
I like nerdy, so that's good.
It's Saturday, January the 20th. This is After the Show number 822. We look at a new movie every week. And this week, we're looking at the movie Blue Beetle. It's a 2023 release, out now on 4K, Blu-ray, and all the streaming services, rated PG-13, from our friends at Warner Brothers who sent us the 4K disc for review. Cidtalk, can you give us the synopsis of the movie Blue Beetle?
Superhero.
The end.
At the end, a young man discovers is handed a thing that transforms him into a superhero. And it is based on, I'm assuming, because I don't know, a DC comic.
Correct.
And takes place, it's not in Mexico, but it is a Spanish-Mexican family, which I think is part of the appeal of that comic, correct? That it was like a more diverse.
Mexico, yeah. Yes.
So it's a very different, there's a lot of Spanish, which I love. I love reading subtitles.
I wish it was all Spanish, to be fair.
I wondered about that too. Like, why not just go all in? Yeah. And especially like, the language of so he takes this beetle thing, it attaches to him, starts to integrate into his body, and then turn him into like a super mech thing or whatever. It also barely speaks Spanish until it's fully integrated. Even then, she doesn't fully speak Spanish. So I thought, why not just go all in? Like,
Now let me give you the real synopsis off the box.
Oh, that wasn't it.
An alien scarab chooses Jamie Reyes to be its symbiotic host, bestowing the recent college graduate with a suit of armor that's capable of extraordinary powers, forever changing his destiny as he becomes the superhero Blue Beetle.
Yeah, they lean into the destiny thing a lot, which I also like, because a lot of superhero things don't address the trajectory of the person who either gains the power, gets the power's like shoved into them because they died and they got turned into something, or they got radioactive spill dumped on them, whatever. They didn't really discuss like, wow, the universe and fate. And that's how they address it in this movie. Like, the universe has chosen you somehow, some way, to do this thing. It is your destiny. And he fights it for a little bit, of course, because it's kind of like Last American Hero.
Like, he doesn't want to be the hero.
Yeah, and also it just attaches to him. He doesn't know anything about it, how to use it or what it's doing or anything like that. So it's a little bit like fish out of water for a while. But it does address, like, this is what you're meant to do, which I'm not fully a believer in that. But I like a story like this where he takes that on board and he embraces it.
And it's also a story about family.
Family.
Vin Diesel would be proud. Because
you love to point out whenever any story focuses on family.
I'm finding increasingly that a lot of movies are about family.
Well, I mean, a lot of life is about family.
Family.
Yes. I mean, it's not like since somebody made it up, it's like a thing,
So we're just boring. We just, make stories about the same thing over and over and over.
I mean, that's true. And it's how you tell the story.
So
how you wrap it up in its little, fictional design. And I actually really enjoyed this one.
So like you said, this is a DC movie. It's in the DC universe. We noticed it's very detached from everything else. It's not like other superheroes turn up.
I didn't think they would.
Well, they did mention a couple of superheroes. He said something about Batman and Superman.
Well, that's when they found the lair of the Blue Beetle.
He said it's like Batman or Superman, but not as good.
Right. Which was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they're just making fun of the whole, wherever the comic was coming from. They do poke fun at like Mexican culture and like work, how they, that bit at the beginning where he says, I'm going to own a mansion. Just give me 5 years, we'll own this big mansion. And it zooms into a mansion and him and his sister are just workers in a mansion, right?
I think that's just the same as everybody.
It's like the joke
you get out of college and you think you're going to do great things, and then you end up having a job like every other schlub, just making a living and paying the bills, which is fine. But I feel like that's what that was about. Like, I can do anything. I've got a college degree. And then you're not doing the fulfillment of all your dreams. You are literally just doing a thing. But then they
say something at the beginning about like, oh, those rich people over there, and we're supposed to be over here.
Right, same idea. It's like...
Don't you think they was going at the Mexican thing? Like,
I don't know.
Like America is over there, we're over here.
I didn't think of that at all.
Oh, I thought that was what they were getting at.
I didn't think of that.
Maybe they weren't. It's about family.
I think it was about poor people and rich people.
Yeah.
That's all I boiled down to, is the idea that even if you work hard and you end up with nothing, and you look over there and you see people who have everything, and you don't know whether they worked hard or not, but why do they have everything and I have nothing? And I think that transcends all culture, to be honest, but that's what I took away from it.
I get kind of sick of the origin stories of superheroes and this, like how they become it. It's kind of old at this point.
I would only rather see origin stories and nothing else.
But I didn't quite know how this one, I've never heard of Blue Beetle, to be fair, until they made a movie out of it. So I had no idea how or why or what was the catalyst for it. But it's an alien. He said, don't call it an alien, but it's an alien.
No, the scarab came from another planet or another universe. Yeah.
So this thing comes from another planet, and then it chooses somebody. It's not elaborated on why it chose him either, is it?
No, it wasn't like, hey, you passed a litmus test of goodness or pure of heart or anything like that. Also, it didn't have a lot of choice. She put it in a box that was like a fast food box, told him to guard it. He opened it. He held it in his hand, and then it attached to him. So there wasn't any like...
The thing was, it could have chose any of his family, right?
Yeah, but it didn't show it like rejecting them or going through any process or like, oh, I don't want her. Oh, I don't want him. And then, oh, this is the one I want. Also, it was the only 3 people it had to choose from at the time. So, we didn't get an answer to that part of the origin story.
And once you're fused with it, it seems like, well, it explained that if it's done with you, then you have to die for it to leave you, right? That's what he said.
I mean, that's what they say. That's what the lady said. And we don't know. We don't know for sure.
He's got it, basically. It's sticking out of his back. It's kind of disgusting.
Right? No, I didn't think it was disgusting. It's like a spine kind of bumping out of him, and it glows
sticking
blue.
Out of your back.
That's all right.
It's a bit like Tony's thing sticking out of his heart, right?
Yeah.
And the powers that he's got, again, it was unclear at the beginning. I was like, so what can this suit do? Is it just like Iron Man? Can it shoot missiles, or can it fly?
It does whatever he wants.
But then it seemingly does anything.
Yeah.
Like, it almost felt a bit like Green Lantern. Like Green Lantern can literally do anything.
Can he? I don't remember.
Yeah, he can make anything. Like, he can say, be a hammer, and it'll be a hammer.
Okay, so that's what it's doing. Okay.
So this thing here was doing anything that he could think of. So the suit says to him at one point, just think of a weapon and I'll be it. Like, I'll do it. So that's a really amazing power if you think about it.
Yeah.
And the suit also, the best part about the suit is it just protects you no matter what. So if a bus is coming flying at you, it will protect you. It also seems to protect the other people, the innocent people, didn't it?
Trying. I mean, only if he kind of directs it that way, I think.
Well, the bad guys, there was a part in the movie where I was like, okay, they're going like the PG route of, we're not, he says like, no, just stun the bad guys. But then in another scene later on, the bad guys were getting wasted. He
keeps saying to the entity in him, like, don't kill them. I'm not a killer. And so they don't. They fling him aside, he himself and the thing inside him. the Blue Beetle. They don't kill anybody, but that means anybody else is free to.
Yeah. So there is some actual, especially when his uncle's in control of the the big ship. So it has some cool stuff in it like that. The big ship was cool. You know what it reminded me of? The vibe of the whole movie. I don't know if you agree, but Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids movies.
Occasionally.
Like it had that like heart to it. We're a family. We're in this together.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of suitable for all ages. It's not too... Last night we finished Gen V, which is the boys, right?
Not family friendly.
Not family friendly in any shape. It's the most extreme end of everything, right?
No, I don't think it's the most extreme end of everything.
Superhero stuff.
I think it's the most extreme end of what you can get onto a mass audience. I mean, There are lots of worse things, I'm sure.
And then this is the opposite of that. Yes, there are some people who get killed and stuff.
Yeah, there's violence. It's on the spectrum there of, between completely innocuous, what's he called? The little blue dog that I always refer to from
Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues. Yeah, that's that extreme end. Or Sesame Street or something, right? And then there's like something way beyond the boys and Gen V. All these other things are kind of in the middle.
But I think just coming off Gen V, we just watched the whole season in a week. And then watching this, I was like, whoa, this is more in line with everybody can see this.
Did you have entertainment whiplash?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit. Because that one, The Boys, is really extreme. In fact, so extreme, The Boys, that after a while, you're desensitized to it.
Definitely.
Like a head explodes and you're like, oh, another head exploded. Not quite.
I'm not
as shocked anymore.
Maybe I'm not as callous as you. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still like, whoa, somebody's head blew up. That's it. I'm still affected. So maybe you need some counseling.
Yeah. Did you like the bad guy in this?
You mean Susan Sarandon?
Yeah.
She was a bad lady. She didn't seem that threatening, except she was really cold-hearted. So the thing is, this big company, Cord, is the big industry. They make weapons. They run the world, basically. That's the idea. They're super rich. There's her and her niece, who we meet, who doesn't want the company to be about making weapons and all that. And Susan Sarandon's whole issue, the reason she's such a villainous woman,
yes,
is that when her father died, he left the company to her brother, who was a man, his brother, and she felt overlooked and devalued. And in normal life, yes, that's a thing. That's an issue. But it was so like, that's it. That's why you're willing, literally, as we see through some little clips.
Yes.
To take children in Latin American countries and who are in war-torn areas, because this is what she's done, right? She's taken children and turned them into guerrilla soldiers through her minions or whatever, and then trained them to be like her thugs, and they're disposable to her. This is how horrible she is, all because her dad left the company to her brother. We get no other story. And I find that really shallow and petty. She wasn't like a mustache twirler, if we're going to say that, even though she was late. She wasn't like that.
She was trying to be.
But she wasn't. And that's the thing. If you're going to be a complete asshole because of something in your life that has given you trauma that you are dealing with as being a bad guy, right? That's what villains are doing. Then be something. She's just this like aging lady with a lot of money. And she's not even like super like snotty or severe. She's just matter of fact about everything. And I didn't find her that scary.
Yeah, what you said is kind of how I was feeling about it. I was like, I kind of like everything here, but the bad lady is not great.
Like if you could just sit her down and have a really good conversation with her, maybe she would be like, oh, you know what? And this is another premise I kind of liked, that our hero guy, Jaime, he just wants to like talk people through it. He wants to be like, hey, let's talk about this. Hey, we don't need to kill each other. You know, that's kind of his personality coming through as the superhero. Now, he gets pissed off at one point when someone does cause something terrible to happen. And then he gets real like, don't threaten my family situation, which I think that seems reasonable, right? Other than that, he's like, look, we don't have to do this. And I feel like this villain lady, if you did that with her and really like maybe had to chain her to the wall to get her to stop being a jerk, but you could talk her out of being a jerk. I mean, we didn't in the end, but
that'd be an interesting. That's the movie. You just talk the bad guy out of being a bad guy.
I mean, it's an idea, right?
Yeah, that'd be good on something like Joker. You talk him out of it in a psychiatrist's office. And
I mean,
he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, what we've done is we've acknowledged that villains, like in life, the jerks of the world, often are world leaders who are complete assholes. If you were able to go through their brain through their whole life, things have triggered this behavior. Now, part of it's personality, DNA, how you cope with the world and how you process things. I get that. But a lot of it is from the surroundings and your hurt feelings and you feeling bad about yourself or feeling angry and then somehow turning that into like, I'm a dictator now, right? So we know this about humans.
Yes.
So now we're kind of dissecting a lot of that with these bad villains and stuff in movies and stories, which is fine. But ultimately, then everybody has like a sob story, right? We didn't get any of hers except boo-hoo. My daddy left the money to my brother, you know?
Right.
I felt like that was kind of anticlimactic when we discovered why she was being such a jerk.
Because I'm terrible at pronouncing Spanish names, you're going to pronounce the cast. I'm going to put that on you because you're very good at Spanish.
Jaime Reyes is now the XOLO, and I was trying to describe to you. There's like a sound that we don't do in English.
Uh-huh.
It's like a combination, TH, CH, with a little bit of Z and zhush in there. And I don't know that I'm saying it right, but it's like cholo, clolo, cholo. And I don't know how to say that first letter, but I do know it's something my mouth isn't used to
I just
doing.
watched like 3 different people pronounce it. And
yeah,
they
said all different ways.
Yeah.
And so his first name is XOLO, Mariduena. And then you've got George Lopez as Rudy Reyes, Bruna Marquezine as Jenny Cord, Adriana Barazza as Nana, who's grandma. She was awesome. Belitza Escobedo as Milagro Reyes, which is the mom. And then the sister is Elapidia.
No, that's the daughter, the Belisa.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you got here. Right. That's the daughter, Belisa. And then the mom is Elapidia Carillo. She plays the mom. And I think everybody was good. I didn't have a fault with anyone.
I like where the Nana came from.
Yeah.
Because the Nana was just a Nana and she was in the house and she was a Nana. It felt a bit clear that there was something more to her because she was very quiet.
Yeah, like a woman who, and at some point, her family had come from wherever they were from originally and had had a hard time, and now they're comfortable, and it's still hard. And she's just, but we find out Nana was part of a revolution.
Like a revolutionary.
Yeah, at some point. So that was fun.
Who dealt with weapons and, she knew her shit.
Because you know what? That's what happens. If you survive the revolution that you were a part of, you're going to get old.
And there's some really cool moment, involving Nana and Mom and Uncle. They're all pretty badass at the end of the day. That's why I said it reminded me of Spy Kids. Because in Spy Kids, the whole family are badasses eventually, right? Everybody helps each other. Everybody takes down the bad guys. We got director Angel Manuel Soto. And they did a film called Charm City Kings, which I'm not familiar with. But what do you think of the directing?
That was really good because it's a mixture of fun, big action, and like you said, it has a bit of fantasy element occasionally. But the CGI is good. I think the standard was set pretty good. I mean, there are moments.
Yeah, actually, it was pretty good, wasn't it?
But it was, yeah.
We just watched Flash, which is a bigger movie than this in the DC universe.
Yeah.
And Flash had worse CGI.
Way worse. And I'm not saying that that's part of the director's job, but if the director looks at it and then says, okay or not okay, that is part of their standard they set. And I feel like they did good with the scenes that I'm thinking of him flying around, got a little bit iffy at times, but was okay. The big bug landing on the big castle-y thing looked pretty good. All the other stuff, I was convinced, so I wasn't distracted by it.
The bus chopping in half.
But that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a bus chop in half in a Marvel movie. It's not a thing we've not
seen. The other way, though.
Yeah, the other way, yeah. IMDb reviews, what are those?
Reviews on IMDb. It's a website. Look it up.
Yeah. And I like to make fun of the people who give everything a 1 out of 10. Because they seem I swear it's the same 5 people.
Well, to be
week.
fair, we don't know that they give everything a 1 out of 10. They might give other things 10 out of 10. We just don't read those.
The first person says, why can't DC have a decent hero? The acting was terrible, the storyline shocking, and the double standards typical. In some instances, the actors sounded like they were in a pantomime. Oh, what a waste of time.
Oh, waste of time. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Second guy says, this is the worst super movie hero ever. The worst super movie hero ever. Get that?
Super movie hero. Got it.
Yes. I wanted to meet people who gave this a 5-star rating, but nobody did. IMDb is full of 1 out of 10. That's it.
You want to meet someone? Like, did you want to hook up? Is there a thing? Is there an app for that? Like, I want to meet everyone who gives 5-star. Is there a swipe left, swipe right for hooking up with people on that standard?
And the last person says, this might be the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. Extremely cheesy, action is low budget, and actors are terrible. It's geared towards children. There's even a fart joke.
There is a fart joke, and I thought it lowered the whole thing a bit, but I accepted it because I don't know about the comic. I don't know where the whole origin comes from. So right. I was like, okay, whatever.
And then he goes on, I noticed a ton of action sequences were ripped out of Marvel movies. DC have none of their own ideas anymore. The humor was very dated and the acting forced. It was just not fun, DC. So,
it was fun. That is incorrect.
Yeah, so those are the people who didn't like it. Now let's me and you, give this movie a score. I'm going to give Blue Beetle a 5 out of 10.
5? Okay.
Maybe a 6. No, I'll change it to a 6.
I'm giving it a 7.2 because I loved it. I had a good time. It was really fun for what it is. It is what it is. It's in the higher third of that.
Yeah, I take it back. 6 out of 10.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I am giving Blue Beetle a 6 out of 10. And you're giving it a 7.2. All right. Yeah, I did like it. I thought it was enjoyable, and it was enjoyable in the way that I watched all 5 seasons of Supergirl on the CW. Yeah. And every week I enjoyed it.
See, some people would think that's an insult.
And people would say, Supergirl on the CW?
Yeah.
Isn't that shitty? No, I really liked it. I thought it was fun, wholesome.
You should be like, yeah, it's super shitty. That's why I love
it. Super shitty. I love super shitty stuff.
To be fair, we do like some super shitty stuff because we watch those channels on Plex.
Yes.
That movies that, I mean, I actually got invested in a movie the other night. I was like, oh, I'll watch this. I had to stop myself.
Yeah, sometimes that happens to me. I'm watching it.
Oh, I'm invested now.
I'm like, this is absolute trash.
It was.
But somehow I can't look away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I get it from the beginning, like opening credits, and then I'm like, okay, I can. But if I go in the middle, I refuse to sit there and watch it.
We're talking about these channels on the Plex app called Screen Factory TV and
Cult TV or Cult.
Shout Cult. And they just run like cult, old, 80s, 70s horror movies.
For example, Piranha from 1978 and Piranha from 1993. We've seen bits and pieces of both of those so many times, and it's not good. Yeah, but once you're in, you're like, well, I'll sit and watch Piranha for an hour.
But I still feel like most of the movies on it, I've seen 75% of the movie.
But at different times. Yeah. Like the end of it at one point and then the first 10 minutes at another point. Because we have it on while we're waiting to like make supper or something. So,
but somehow they are compelling. Always.
They are.
All right. So next.
What was that one that we watched? Streetwalker? Was that what's called?
Streetwalking.
Yeah. Streetwalking with
Melissa Leo.
Yeah. And I was like, it's just starting.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
Enjoyed is a strong word, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. That one is elevated over some of the others.
It's not elevated, but it's very of its time, and it's just compelling. Like, wow, this is the entertainment we've been dished out our whole fucking lives. Wow.
Yeah. You want to catch that one if you've not seen it. Streetwalking with Melissa Leo.
And it's just exactly what it sounds like. There's no trick in the name. It is what it is.
It's that. Yeah. It's walking. I was also walking, but it's not like Lord of the Rings.
They're just walking on the street.
All right. So thank you to Warner Brothers. Next week, we're looking at another superhero movie, The Marvels from Marvel.
I'll be honest, I'm getting a little tired of superheroes, but I can watch zombies endlessly, even Walking Dead, which I'm totally over and bored with. But because it's zombies, I'm hanging in there. But superheroes, again, the same stories over and over. You get a power, you do a thing, there's a bad person or a bad entity, and you have to save everyone. And it's driven by the force of the power of love and protecting everyone, right? That's the story. That's it.
Yeah, that's why The Boys
even if you're
is so
trying
good.
to recoup half of all of life in the universe because somebody snapped their finger, right? I mean, it's still... So what I want are more zombies. Because no one's bored of zombies, right?
Well, next week, you're going to watch a boring superhero movie, The Marvels.
It might not be boring,
No.
but I have to get my head in the space of like, okay, I have to just not be snotty about it and just...
Well, I'm really excited to see Kamala Khan again because
Yeah, I like her.
Ms. Marvel was superb.
That was fun.
Yes. So movie recommendations, I'm going off this movie. So I'm going for Cobra Kai because the main guy from this is in Cobra Kai and he's also awesome. He's Miguel in Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He was good.
And another one is because the neon city in this movie reminded me of Tron.
Ah,
There's a lot of neon in this movie, including that helicopter that she's flying around in. It's got pink lines all over it.
what people don't know is your favorite color combination is neon blue, pink.
Yeah.
Together.
Any of that retro synthwave kind of look.
Synthwave.
I like a bit of synthwave. So yeah, Cobra Kai and Tron.
And mine are going back to from 1900 to 1999. And I don't remember if I picked action or adventure. I don't know. So you have to figure that out for yourself. They're not in a particular kind of order. These are just movies I've seen. This is not a recommendation from quality. It's just so that you can get into my head and know all the ideas that are floating around in there after all of these 56 years of life. We have My Fellow Americans, which is an interesting one, which I think is a really fun take on politics. Very of its time. Spies Like Us, also a little dip in the politics of its time, very much. Good Boys, which was really good. That was like a fun but sad, right? Good Boys is the one I'm thinking of with the kids.
Good Boys is the one where the kids swear a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
Weekend at Bernie's. That's college age and death and partying. That's what that's all about. And The End of the Fucking World, which was quite compelling.
That was a TV show, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
I think so. It was a kid and a girl, and he was like he'd killed people in really gruesome ways. It started off with him like pulling wings off a fly or something. Remember that guy?
Was it a TV show?
It was English, yeah. The end
I
of
know, I
the,
remember that.
yeah, that's what that was.
And then it's like really
And they go on a bit.
artistic look about it. Like
Yeah.
grungy
Yeah.
and rough and
I think it's on Netflix. End of the effing world, I think it's called.
yeah. It's right there in front of you on your little thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want.
All right, Ace Scully stuff. I've been doing some more emulation stuff, so I haven't played a particular game this week, but I just wanted to mention again, we've already mentioned it, Gen V. If you're into The Boys and you didn't catch Gen V, what are you doing?
What's The Boys?
The Boys is an Amazon superhero show, but it's not your regular superhero show. It's from Gareth Ennis, the guy who wrote the Preacher comics, which we watched Preacher as well, right? And Preacher is in the same vein as The Boys. It's got this anything can happen kind of scenario to it.
And I can take, like, we're talking about superhero thing being boring. I think this is why whoever's writing these or, got these stories going, these fictional characters, it's because like, yeah, we got superheroes, but what we can do to make it interesting, right? That's how I feel about The Boys, for
when
sure.
When he wrote The Boys. Because The Boys is more of a what if superheroes really were amongst us and the world was cynical and it wouldn't be
What
great.
if superheroes were assholes?
Yeah.
A lot of assholes, yeah. And how do you control
it? A big company runs the superheroes too, which makes them even more asshole-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really a cool idea, and it's the kind of show where you're watching it and something so out of left field happens and you're like, Well, I can't be surprised. This show, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you can't get your brain. You just have to absorb it. Kind of like Legion, but Legion didn't have the...
It wasn't as...
absurd.
Or gross.
It wasn't gross, yeah.
This is gross, crass, I would say. It tries to poke fun at our world, doesn't it? Like doing lots of social media jokes. And
oh,
that
gosh,
kind of
yeah.
It's just a cool show. Anyway, Gen V is basically...
But reiterate, it is not a family show. I don't know what kind of family you have, so you pick and choose. But I'm just saying,
no.
If you want to go with a general cultural reference of family friendly, Gen V and the boys is not that.
It's bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
They don't care if they use the C word.
Correct.
It's really hard.
Ultra sexual at times,
yes.
violent.
Penises, all kinds of things in it.
Penises and all kinds of things.
There's penises.
Like that's the standard for like, oh my God, it's got penises and all kinds of things.
Yeah, and there's penises in strange situations. Yes. It's very weird. Yeah. If you're the kind who
appreciates weirdness,
or you're the other kind who goes, oh my God, I can't watch anything gruesome, or you don't want to watch this.
No.
All right, what's for dinner?
In fact, if you were a person who was easily upset by things, you might then complain about it because it can make you feel a little uncomfortable.
Do you think you would write a letter to the ombudsman?
Somebody might. I think we're going to go with Jersey Mike's. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like that's the vibe I'm feeling.
Michael from Jersey?
Is he? I don't even know.
Probably not.
And my advice, you say, what's my advice? It isn't advice.
Aye.
It is, well, I don't know if it's advice or not, but here it is. Here's how I wrote it. Most of us would run into a burning building if someone was inside and needed help, right? Most people would. I think your instincts would kick in. You just be like, oh shit, somebody's screaming and there's a fire and there's no one here to help them and I'm running in to help them. I think that that's the nature of how we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a shitty situation. If shitty emotions in your head and your mind and your heart are brought on by very shitty things that make your life shitty, or in your mind, your reactions and your coping feels shitty. It can all be happening. And it feels like just it's on fire, like an inferno that you need to run away from, like escape from. Be willing to run straight at it with the same force that you would run to save someone else, right? Because it's not a burning building. It's your feelings and your thoughts and ideas, and there's coping hidden in there. There is a fire truck coming with like coping mechanisms, and you have the ability to run into that emotional burning building just to save yourself, just as you would someone else. And just like someone else would come to save you. You know, a lot of people who care about you or love you, if they could rush into your mind, into the burning building of your mind and help sort it out and drag you out of the rubble and turn you around and be like, okay, we can deal with this, they would. So just be willing to do that for yourself. I don't know how. I just think that running away in your mind or trying to avoid the things doesn't always solve the problem. And I don't know what I'm even referring to specifically. So don't think, if you know me, that this is about anyone specific. I just see it in life a lot now, escaping and running away and like, don't face it and ignore it, and it will just be what it is. And it doesn't seem to help that way. So that's it.
Thank you, Cidtalk. Well said.
I don't think that's helpful to anyone, but
that's fine.
It's what was in my head, and now it's out of my head.
ascully.com is the website you can go to get this podcast. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and YouTube. You can email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Cidtalk. She doesn't want your emails. And stay classy at DC, because there's still going to be some more DC movies, Cidtalk. And you're going to be watching them.
I am. We'll see how that goes. And I'm going to say think for yourself, for someone's doing it for you.